Hello guys, Lit here. So this is day 2 and 3 recaps. There's a lot of changes, so let's start the map and let me talk about the changes. And by the way, I'm sorry if I'm not very tidy because this is while mapping. I may not be able to speak properly. So we find the Abyss, and the first thing first is I'm right now is Infernalist. I'm no longer Lich, and the reason for this is because Infernalist is just a better ascendancy early on. You don't have to worry about Spirit. You got Ignite from the Hellhound, which is a really big things for my setup before, where I use Gas Arrow, because Gas Arrow will need an Ignite for the Gas Arrow to explode, and I have Fall Guard, but having extra Ignite from the Hellhound is always nice. And then if I decide to move to Lich, I can just move to Lich. There's no problem there, but early on, I don't really want to go to all the complications, so starting Infernalist is just make a lot more sense. And then the next one is, if you see on my HP bar, I'm having 8.3k E energy shield. So I've basically switched into full energy shield mode, and then this 8.33, I'm confident that I can reach 10k. At least that is the target. At least I want to reach 10k. If possible, I want to have more energy shield, because you know, more energy shield, you are more tanky, and you don't have to worry about a lot of things. I missed things there. What is this? Plus purple. Okay, pretty good. And basically, going full ES, it's just a very confused setup. This is what I should do last league, but last league I decided to test the mana with the Leech, and you do get a lot of DPS, but the defense is a little bit too thin in my opinion. So this is energy shield basically. And the other one is different right now. Is, if you see on the gameplay, I'm no longer using a Gas Arrow. So right now the playstyle is a little bit more comfy. I don't have to spamming Gas Arrow all around. And yes, it's a little bit slower, but it's just a lot easier and more comfy playstyle. So I can just keep farming, and I don't have to worry about a lot of things. It's just very, very comfy this way. And you still can use the Gas Arrow. The mapping is faster, but you do have to be very active with it. And the other different things that I add to the build is the Spectre. So there's a new Spectre. The first one is this Fleshpiercer, and this one is basically give us a haste aura. And you can see this on, you can catch this Spectre on Interlude, and I think it's on Cardiac Crossing. I will show the footage on the screen. You look for that specific building, and there will be two flying bugs there, and one of them will give you haste, and one of them will give you increased physical damage. Now for me, I do not use the increased physical damage one because the spirit cost for the Spectre is pretty high. The base rate is 82 to 83 spirit, and after all the reduction, I think it still costs me like 70 something spirit, so it's still pretty expensive Spectre to use. The haste, absolutely, having a haste here is just way better. It feels really good to have haste, especially because I'm using Bone of Earth, and the movement speed is pretty slow. It's only 15% if you perfect roll. So having haste is really nice. Almost die. Not really. Basically, and that is the thing. I'm sorry if I'm going all over the place, because talking and explaining things is really hard apparently. And the other things I add into is Skeletal Brutes. If you see, there is a Skeletal Brutes, and Skeletal Brute have a new skill this league with the Shattering Roar, and that skill give a debuff to enemy, and the enemy will deal 10% less damage, and they also going to take 10% more damage. And the Brute is actually pretty good this league compared to previously. The damage is pretty decent, and there is a basic attack that they use. I think the name is Bone Shatter or something like that, and it does have an AoE component, and it actually deal pretty decent damage, and the AoE is not that bad, so it's still able to help with clearing. And I do try with more Brute before, but I decided to just go for Archer, because Archer is having a long range. I think it's more beneficial in terms of clearing, because I need to aggro the enemy from afar, so the minion can react a little bit more aggressive. And that's basically the change to the minion. I'm no longer using Strong Mage because the shock right now is moved into the sniper. The sniper does have enough damage to shock right now, so I don't have to use the Skeletal Strong Mage anymore. And that's basically more efficient in terms of like the spirit usage. That's just about it. And then I'm still using Cleric. And then, yeah, I mean, that's about the minion change, I think. And for the playstyle right now, I'm really not doing a good job cleaning this map. And while we are on the maps, let's talk about the maps. The sprinting is actually pretty good, and we do have a panic button that I just used, which is Convalescence. It makes you regen your energy shield, and even if you get hit, it will keep regening, which is really nice. And ideally, you probably shouldn't do the mapping like me, where I just try to clear everything. I usually just using a sprint like this, and then I just looking for the rare and just targeting the rare, targeting the mechanic. This league, especially the Abyss, is really, really good. It's very profitable. And if there's a bosses, I will go for the bosses. Which I think this map have a bosses. I want to showcase the single target DPS. So you probably shouldn't clear everything like this. It's better to just move around. Your minion's still going to kill stuff, so there's no worry about that one. And there we go. We found the map boss. Let's do the map boss and kind of showcase the single target DPS. It's not super crazy or anything like that. I think the minion kind of catching up at the end game, so it kind of flattened out. So the damage is not like super crazy anymore, or maybe because I'm using too much sniper. More Valguard probably going to give you a more single target DPS, but right now I think the damage is not that bad, but it's also because I'm not doing a good job. I mean, he is facing. I'm not supposed to. He's not supposed to face. I'm supposed to kill him before his face. Well, it's my bad. All right, the map boss is that. The single target DPS is not super crazy, but I think it's still pretty decent. So let's go back to hideout and whoops. And this is the not fun part about using Valguard. And after this, I will start to move away from Valguard, so we don't have to deal with it anymore. And because right now I think I already get all the items that I need, then I will start to find another combinations to replace Valguard. So, but for now, in this video, let's talk about this one first, and that's the reason why I want to make this video, because I am about to move out of Valguard. So, for the gem, Infernal Hound is the one from Infernalist. Gem support is pretty standard. Magnified area. Master is really strong on this one because we use a lot of minions. Like we have Infernal Hound, we have Warrior, we have Valguard, we have Brute, we have Sniper, we have Cleric. So there's a lot of variety of minions, and that's make Master really, really strong. And the last one is Hulking Minion. This is a very nice trick you can do with Infernal Hound, because Hulking Minion basically make your minion gigantic. It have 20% more life, damage, and size. But the problem with gigantic is it's also going to increase the reservations. But because Infernal Hound doesn't have reservation because it's free from the Ascendancy, you basically get all the benefit from Hulking Minions without any downside. And then we pair that with Loyalty. This is basically the 0.1 Hellhound, which it take 10% damage for you. It basically now becomes a support gem, and it have a downside 30% less maximum life. It's still a very good defensive layer. And then the last one is just Fire Mastery to have more life, to have more damage, and all that stuff. So the next one is for Skeletal Warrior. This is pretty standard. Sacrificial Lambs. This is going to make the Skeletal Warrior become the fooder for the offering. I do pair them with Hulking Minion and Minion Mastery. This just to make them a little bit more durable. The same with Infernal Hound, because this one is the benefit from the Scepter. It doesn't really reserve your spirit, so the downside from the Hulking Minion also doesn't exist here. And the next one is the Valguard. This is the DPS of the build. And this one hits really hard, like the Explosive Grenade is hit for 22k. And for the support gems, we go with Multishot and Rapid Attacks, Feeding Frenzy, Master, and the last one I'm using Element Armaments. This will give you 12% more attack damage for every element on the enemy. Now we get Ignite from the Hellhound, and we do get Ignite, we do get Shock from the Sniper. And then there is also Frost Bomb. The chill is not very consistent. I really don't remember if this is actually chilling or not. But if it's chill, that extra damage for the Valguard. And the Fall Guard is going to hit really hard, and this is especially the minion that you're going to use early on. It's just really good. There's no other minion that get close to it. So Fall Guard, if you on early game, just use this one. I know the visual will give you cancer. I know this will be laggy, but there is no other minion that get close to Fall Guard. And the next one is Skeletal Brute. It's just to apply the debuff, but the Bone Breaker is actually pretty good. Like if you see the damage is actually pretty nice. And the cooldown is 3 seconds, so it's a bit long. But you know, once in a while, if you have several Brute, they can do it at a different time. And I do try with like 4 Brute, and the clear actually pretty good. It's a lot better than I expected. And the Shockwave is also quite a lot of DPS. And for the support gem, I'm going with Heft and Rapid Attacks and Brutality, Master and Feeding Frenzy, basically just all damage. And because Skeletal Brute is also pretty tanky, this one have like almost 9k life and 83 max res, so the minion is pretty tanky. Shattering Roar is also pretty good, even without consuming the freeze from the Skeleton Mage. And the next one will be the Archer. The Archer is basically just to trigger minion and just try to get some of the minion from far away. Because of the range of the Skeletal Sniper is really long. Having them is really good, but probably you do not need 6 of them. Probably 4 of them will be enough, and having one more Fall Guard is probably better. For example, something like this is probably a better combinations, but you can play around with it, see which one you like. But for now, this is the one that I'm using. And for the Skeletal Sniper, I'm using Rapid Attack. Lightning attunement, and this is what makes the Archer able to shock, because it gets 25% extra lightning damage. And combinations with Elemental Weakness and Frostbomb, the Sniper actually able to shock. The Elemental Weakness and Frostbomb for the exposure, the Fall Guard is still going to benefit from it, because the Fall Guard is still fire damage. If you see it over here, there is still a bit of fire damage. It's not that much, but it's still a bit of fire damage, and this one still can be scaled by the minus resistance. And then I pair them with Feeding Frenzy, Master, and Gambleshot. Gambleshot is just a better option than, for examples like Multishot or something like that, because the downside from Gambleshot is only 50% less damage. So the downside is pretty minimum, but it can make the sniper able to fork, chain, or pierce, which is pretty good for clearing. And for the Skeletal Cleric, I'm using Mid-Shield, Rapid Casting, and Last Gasp. This is pretty standard for Cleric. And for the Pierce, this one, take it with a grain of salt, because as you can see over here, there is no explanation on anything. This is why I think that this is probably not intended for it to be here. I put Magnified area here, but I do not know if that actually increased the area of the haste. I mean, I can move them around, but I think the difference is pretty similar, so I just put them with Rapid Attack and Heft, but you can change this into something else. Just play around with the support gens. The most important part from the Spectre is just the haste aura. It doesn't really do any damage. It doesn't really do anything other than just give you aura. And the next one will be Convalescence. And this is basically a panic button. So when you push the Convalescence, your energy shield will regen. And even if you get hit, the energy shield will keep regening, because normally if you get hit, your energy shield will stop regening. So Convalescence is basically a panic button, and I pair them with cooldown recovery to reduce the cooldown rate, and also prolong the durations. And the next one is Pain Offering with Sacrificial Offering and Dance Macabre. This one going to give the offering a lot of damage. So these two is really important. And then Magnified area for more AoE, and then durations for more duration for the offering. And the next one is Elemental Weakness. This one is pretty standard, Focus Curse, for it to be activated earlier. I probably shouldn't use this one because I have a Curse Crown, so the activation doesn't really matter that much. In that case, you can put Magnified area effect, so you have a bigger AoE. But if you do not want to use Curse Crown, because Curse Crown does have a downside, I like Curse Crown because I can preload them before the boss coming out. So it's really a matter of preference. If you do not want to use Curse Crown, you can use Magnified effect here. But if you want to use Curse Crown, then you change the Focus Curse for Magnified effect, something like that. And the next one is Frostbomb. This is to apply exposure. I do them with Potent Exposure to increase the exposure effect. and also long fuse. This to extend the detonation time. The frost bomb is already apply exposure the moment you put it there, and the longer time it takes to explode, that's mean the longer the exposure going to be there. So I like to use long fuse here, and then area of effect just to increase the AoE. So that's about the gem. And for the items, I get a scepter. Unfortunately, I cannot get the +4, but I think this one is pretty good. Decent amount of speed, 36, +3 minion, and increased damage and attack speed. I think I buy this one something around like 3 to 4 define, something like that. I cannot find the decent +4, so I think for now, this will be my scepter. And for the amulet, I find this one with +3 minion and decent amount of spirit, so this one is pretty nice. I also have some global defense, also have some fire resistance, which is still pretty nice. And +2 on the helmet with as much energy shield I can find. But of course, this one is T1. This is T2 energy shield, so it definitely can get more energy shield than this. And if we can get more energy shield on this, this will be increasing the base energy shield a lot. And for the body armor, this is also the same thing. I'm looking for spirit and as high energy shield as possible. I think this one is pretty bad, tier 3 and tier 4. So this one can definitely get a lot better. It's probably can get something like 700, 800s, maybe. But I do want the spirit, and it does come with intelligence, cold, and chaos resistance. So that one is pretty nice. But I do need to find a better energy shield, because this will give you a lot of energy shield. And for the glove, I'm just looking for energy shield and resistance. And for the boots, I'm using Bone of Followers. And this is the reason why I can have this many minions, because this is going to reduce the reservations of your minion. And this also affect your Spectre. So this Spectre also going to get reduced by this Bone of Earth. And the shield, this is basically the same thing with the Infernal Ascendancy. You get 1 maximum spirit per 25 life. So this one I think gives me something like 80 to 90 spirit. And you don't really have to use, like I'm right now almost 500. I don't think you need 500. So I just want to showcase all the items that I can found that can increase spirit and not costing too much. The Bone of Fool, I buy this around like 2 divine. This one is also around 2 divine. So it's expensive, but not super expensive, if you know what I mean. And then for the rings, the ring is pretty standard too. I'm looking for life and a lot of resistance. The same thing with this, life and resistance. And the belt is also the same, life and resistance. And for the passive tree, I already get my 4th Ascendancy. So this one will give me ES based on how much life I have. And this one will give me spirit based on how much maximum life I have. And this one is a decent amount of defense. This is basically just a damage conversions. The most important part is the physical damage taken as chaos damage, because we do not have a lot of armor and any reduction in terms of the physical. So having 20% of them become chaos damage, they will be get reduced by the chaos resistance. And this is also a reason if you want to switch into energy shield, make sure you have a decent amount of chaos resistance. And the last one is just for the Hellhound. And for the tree itself, this is what it looks right now. I also take the minion node over here. And I do not really worry too much about the attribute, because in Infernalist, it's not just Infernalist, but in Infernalist, you convert life to spirit and energy shield. So having strength, and strength does give you life. So having more attribute here is not necessarily a bad thing, because after you fulfill your attribute requirement for dex and intelligence, just switch every attribute to strength. And you can get a little bit more spirit, a little bit more energy shield. So more attribute is not necessarily bad on Infernalist. And the tree I think is pretty standard. This is ES node, and I'm 92. And there is still like this 3 node that I can take for energy shields. That's why I'm very confident that I can reach 10k. Also on the chest, this is tier 3 and tier 4. So if I can get like T1, T1, I definitely will be able to reach 10k energy shield. So in the description, I will provide 2 links. The first one is max roll and the second one is POP. So depending on what platform that you use, you can choose the link accordingly. And I think that's all I have for you on this video. And for the next video will be probably a little bit long, probably around 1 or 2 days. I will farm and testing a lot of things. I don't know if I'm going to have proper combinations sooner or later, but I do want to try to get out from the Fall Guard, because my GPU is screaming every time I'm using Fall Guard. Goal is to remove Fall Guard and just use another combination of minions. and that basically is the goal for the next one. So if you guys have any questions, as usual, leave it in the comment below. I will try my best to answer it. And thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you like the video, consider to like and subscribe. That will help the channel a lot. And I will see you on the next one.